and into the pesky pole. And that's going to get down the line. That one looks like it'll stay fair. And goodbye, home run. The pesky pole.
The 2-2. Swinging a fly ball deep down the right field line, slicing by the pesky pole. And that ball hits the pesky pole, which means it's gone, a home run.
3-2 high fly down the right field line, slicing toward the pesky pole into the corner, and that ball is gone. A green can. That one a high fly down the right field line, headed toward the pesky pole. Is he going to tuck it inside? Indeed he does. That is gone.
Welcome to another episode of the Pesky Podcast. I'm your host, Ritt. With me is Mr. George Sutherland. George, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Nice last couple of days in Houston, so let's keep on rolling, boys.
It's been par for the whole season this year. Just when you want to give up on the Red Sox, they want to wheel you right back in and be like, no.
Yeah.
We go from the Houston series, losing the first two games, to winning yesterday in only Red Sox fashion, to and I've seen this on Twitter, to a Boston tee-off party.
Oh yeah.
Where we just crushed the Astros 17-1. So, George, let's talk about the first two games and get them out of the way before we talk about the latter. Let's talk about AC getting ejected. You know, that was twice in 3 games where he got thrown out.
I think he's seen more than his share of really, really, really bad calls on low pitches. I mean, we've touched on it a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, but my God, it's like, would you like a gift certificate to Lens Crafters? My God, it's awful. And he's just had enough. And he's trying to protect his guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, yeah, maybe it was a ball, but a couple of times, he's just like, can you be consistent, please? If it goes one way, go the other. No, every manager in baseball will tell you, if the guy's got a big strike zone and he calls it evenly on both sides, that's the way it goes. The same thing with narrow strike zones. But when you just don't know from one pitch to the other, what looks like what gets called a ball on one is a strike on another. It's like, come on, man, buy a ticket, get in the ball game.
Yeah, AC posted. Well, Tyler Milliken posted what AC said earlier, about 16 minutes ago. A lot of people thought the season was over 3 days ago, but that's not the case. Mentioned that if you watch this team, it's going to be a roller coaster all season, just par for the course at this point, and that is pretty much exactly what the season's been like. Me personally, I love seeing AC get fired up over these pitches. I think he knows that at the end of the season, someone's got to be a scapegoat, and I think
going to be him.
And he's trying to fight for his job out there. Every fucking pitch matters or counts. He said it.
Right.
Like, you gotta sit there and you gotta establish a presence, and we can't keep having AC watching this go on and letting the players. Man, how many times before last night's game, 3-2 count, Justin Turner thinks it's a ball, and he gets called a strike. Repeatedly.
He's leading in that category.
Like, he's leaning down, getting the shin guard off, and the ump's racking him up with a strike. It's like, wait a minute, whoa.
He's such a class act that he could go off like a time bomb, but in the back of his head, it's like, are you shitting me? Okay. but he keeps his composure, and sets that's that good tone veteran leadership sets for younger players.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a point to which you can push, just don't go past that. Okay.
Yeah.
My good friend Mr. Verdugo brain cramped the other day and went too quick, too fast, way too early.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think Turner leads the league in called third strikes that should not have been.
And then last night, if you watched Turner when he actually did get a walk, he wasn't sure. Like he's like, wait, are you sure about this? Like
dude, we good here?
But you're right. Like Turner's that veteran presence and leadership that we need on this team. And here's the question: what do we do with him in the offseason? Is Turner going to take the option? Is he going to ask for a restructured contract? Like, we would be dumb to not try to re-sign him, especially with a next, point I want to sit there and talk about, especially with Devers regressing a little bit. Like, he is totally forgetting how to play basic defense over there on third. And, we've seen, I seen it earlier, Dustin Pedroia working with Devers, shuffle, throw, like
Right.
basics over there at third. Devers is, he's in his head right now.
He was having a decent season, probably the first 60 or 70 games, but it seems like lately, you're right, he's regressed. And I think everybody's eyes were focused on what Kike wasn't doing at shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
To realize that, Rafi's numbers were creeping up there as well in terms of errors over at third. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Maybe if Turner's heel wasn't banged up, I think you might see him over there for a couple of games. Let Rafi kind of DH a little bit, because get himself together again. But I really, but right now the only third base option they really have is Urias.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the end of a laugher, you might want to put him in, but right now probably not. He's he's got to come out of this himself, and yet today he made a couple of good plays.
Exactly.
He took one off the shoe tops, rifled a laser shot over to second, then deferred. They got him reversed for a double play. I mean, he's capable of making the play, but it's every once in a while he just doesn't. And his errors have been creeping up, particularly over the last month or so. So it's something to be concerned about. He's doing it with the bat too, so I'm not so sure that balances out, because if he makes a bad error in a big moment, forget it.
Yeah. And normally when Rafi's having those problems, mentally, he can look to his left, and he always has Xander there to reel him back in.
Right.
Now he doesn't have that person, to his left anymore. He doesn't have that bond, that mentor, that brother that he
Right.
looked to. So now who's that next person to stand up and be like, Pedroia was right there helping him. So hopefully this, because we spent a lot of money, $313,
Mm-hmm.
to build our whole future around him, and we can't pay $313 for a guy to sit there and play, be a DH all the time. Ortiz, that was a completely different situation, but Devers, we need him at everyday third base.
You're right, and the only one that can fix this is him. I'm glad Dustin's working with him. And he just goes through stretches of this. He'll look great, and then he like it's the old focus thing. It's like he doesn't quite have it all together when he's playing. So I just don't understand. But it's something we're going to have to pay attention to coming down the last 5 weeks of the season, and yeah,
But
keep an eye on it.
let's go from a man who is not getting it all together right now to a man that has it all the way together. Adam Duvall, before today's game.
Touch them all, Duvall, baby.
Today's game. In the Astros Series, 7 hits, 3 home runs, including the game winning walk-off last night, 7 RBIs, and a .538 batting average. This man I don't know what Houston did to him, but he had them circled on the calendar, it seems. And he was out there in those were the numbers before today. Today's game, let's go to the box score here. Today, Duvall went 2 for 3.
Yep.
With an RBI and a walk.
Correct.
So,
look, I've been beating this drum steadily for the last 2.5 weeks. The more at bats he gets, the harder he becomes. The closer he gets to 400 at bats, the better hitter he is. But what struck me last night he did what no ball player ever wants to do, and that's foul one off your foot, right? And in a bad place at that, all right? And then, after looking like he wanted to, bend over and throw up, he gets up in the box and takes the next pitch and drives it deep into the seats. That's tough, okay? Look, he's proving his worth. Everybody said, well, they could have traded him at the deadline. No. He can play center field. He can play all 3 outfield positions, okay? Good corner outfielder to boot. That's where he made his bones, coming up in the corners. But he's demonstrated he can play center field and do it reasonably well. But he's locked in right now. And they kept pumping him with fastballs, and he said, yeah, go ahead.
Did you notice that last night? It was crazy. They were throwing 2-3 fastballs in a row, and then they didn't expect somebody to sit there and take him deep.
Almost daring him and say, go ahead, guy, go ahead. Well, yeah, he's a professional hitter. He's going to tee off.
But man, Duvall, to touch on what you just said, when he took that foul off his back foot, you put a lot of weight on the swing.
Yep.
And we've said it since the beginning of this podcast debut. Turner tough. Duvall, Turner tough last night.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next pitch, deep. And then he jogged around like he wasn't even hurt.
And he's dying too, right?
Oh, absolutely. But what was it? Pablo Reyes took a couple off of his back, his back foot. There was a lot going on in last night's game where they were just taking and fouling the ball off of their ankle, their foot,
And and Reyes ends up making a play to end the game last night, and did it smoothly and without even, it looked like it just a very common play for him, and it was not. So yeah. Just keep your head in the game and keep going. So, Mr. Turner, once again, is rubbed off on people.
Yeah, and considering, we had a scare with Kenley, walking off. He sat there and said he was good today, with his quad and his thigh a little bit. So that was really good to hear. But I loved AC had give me Pivetta.
Yep.
Shadow of a doubt. Give me Pivetta. And Pivetta came in and he was in beast mode. Getting them out. What are your thoughts on it seems to me AC is more comfortable now in his bullpen calling certain people and not having, any shades of thought. Boom, I want him. I want Pivetta. Give me him.
Yeah.
Give me Wink,
Yeah. You've seen with Winkowski, he's gone to, as I said the other day, I thought that they were going to do this, is that he's gone to the 1 inch, one inning wink. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I want you to, harness that fastball of yours with movement and, with the good slap in the boot and just say, okay, boy, go out there and get it done. Here's your inning. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the bullpen, as I said, the roles are there. Okay. And everybody is doing their job. And, I don't know what else you can ask for. It's taken a long time. The back end you always felt was good with Martin and Jansen. It was before that trying to find the right mix, and now everything's just kind of slotted out. And in last night's game, he had no problem at all going out there and saying to Pivetta, "Yeah, get me off the hook here, big guy." Okay, and Pivetta's nothing else. We know he's a competitor, and he came in fired up and did his job.
Man, last night's game, it's kind of like AC's been listening to the podcast. Because I sit there and said, I would love to see a Sale Whitlock back to back.
Right.
Sale went in, and I hated how I was listening on and reading stuff on Twitter. I hate the negativity. Oh, Sale's done. Sale gave up 4 earned runs. Okay. He struck out 9 in 5 innings.
Right.
Like he gave up that what was it, that 3-run shot?
And then that's your big damage, right? Beyond that, nothing. You're right. I mean, it's one of those. It was a good performance that doesn't show in the stats, right?
Mm-hmm.
9 strikeouts get your attention and said, hey, he had good swing and miss stuff, which he did. Okay, but you're right. And then Whitlock comes in, and then the play he made, sliding to make that catch, was phenomenal. I mean, wow. I mean,
it was great.
When you don't see pitchers do that.
I get worried about him because it's Whitlock. He just came back off the IL, and I'm like, thank God you got right back up. Like, because
he has a football mentality. He does. He has a football mentality, and he just go out there and he just go out there and do it. And that was an outstanding play. And he didn't know that catches in that they called interference on the guy at the plate. So he's going all out and making it happen. But yeah, that was a terrific play. I just you can't say enough about it because it's a pitcher. Most pitchers are point or go back up the base and don't do anything special. He's like, nope, got to get this done.
Yeah, and then Martin came in, and Martin we trust. Shut out. Inning. Jensen came in to try to seal the deal. Wasn't able to. Pivetta came in, got the last 2 outs, and then, like you said, talk to me.
Talk to me, Goose. I don't know if you can hear me, but I think you're freezing.
You there, George?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Sorry, we had a little technical difficulty. I don't know what went on.
Oh, there you go again.
Was you able to hear any of this?
Oh, your screen froze and I got nothing.
Okay. But that was last night. And let's talk about tonight or this afternoon.
Oh my God. That was a beating of beatings. And everybody had a chance to contribute. And the only guy who didn't get a hit was Ref Snyder, and that's because he replaced Duvall late. Everybody went up there. Dude, Verdugo had 7 at bats. He got 4 hits. That's a sign you're cooking.
See, Verdugo, third pitch of the game, goes deep, and I'm like, this is what we need. Like, this is what we need with Verdugo. Like, he made a couple great catches in the outfield.
Yes, he did.
It's like, dude, Verdugo, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah. Just relax and play ball and do it well.
With Verdugo, he has his ups and downs. It is really crazy. And I'm just like, man, if we can just get him to just play ball, that's it. He played ball the first 2.5 months of the season, for up until the middle of May. Then he was having some problems. And I'm like, dude, this is what we need from him. Like, he had 2 RBIs today, 7 at bats. Like, he's 279 on the year. That's great. But it's the small things, It's the small things that are piling up against him.
Right.
Where he might not get that extension.
Right. He's the lack of hustle, the showing up late, not taking good runs, not just not having himself totally in the game, getting tossed in the first inning.
Man, I don't even 100% know what went on because AC got up there. He's like, "Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
You got this, Alex?" No, he went that, Alex. Yeah,
let's talk. Since we're talking AC real quick again, what were your thoughts on Verlander? The complete disrespect with Alex Cora.
I don't know. I don't know. What is there something? Is there something from his time in Houston with AC? I don't know. I mean, I ignore that stuff, because there's always some untold story or whatever that nobody's ever privy to until somebody's career is over. Then you learn about it. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, but I don't like anybody disrespecting anybody like that, especially when AC was just going out and because Verlander just walked off the mound, like
right.
That should have been a balk. That should have been a pitching violation.
Correct.
A pitcher cannot just walk off the mound like that. AC was going out to see what was going on, and then Verlander wants to cry like a baby and be disrespectful. Like, I do not like that at all. Verlander, for who he is and the respect that he gets from the players,
sure,
he's got to show the respect too. So
I don't know. Baseball in 2023, it's been a strange year.
But let's go talk about Verdugo, who's the man right behind him, Wilyer Abreu.
Oh my goodness,
that man 4 for 5 tonight.
Yeah,
4 for 5. Like, that man, Verdugo's got to stop playing with this off the field shit, because Abreu could easily come up and replace him in that corner infield.
Yes. And what was really telling today is that, AC started him in center field. Okay. And, he looked pretty good out there. But you had said that you had seen him play center field, when you'd seen him play for the Woo Sox.
Yep.
But yeah, he's definitely a corner. He's definitely a corner outfielder. His swing looks good. He's patient. He made that throwing error in his first game. I think too much adrenaline going. You can forgive the kid for that. I mean, he's pumped up. He's playing. He got unexpectedly got into the game after Doogie got tossed, and he's pumped. But I mean, he's got a strong arm. I didn't realize how strong it was, and I saw a couple of his throws, and I'm like, yes, sir, you do have a cannon. But I think he's hungry. I mean, you saw that in today's game when he went out. He actually did an acrobatic act to get his double, right? So he couldn't avoid being tagged. Spun around, grabbed the bag with two hands, and managed to stay. Managed to get not get thrown out. The kid has some talent.
Yeah. I'm sitting there and just looking at like Abreu. He can be a corner infielder next year, easy. We got Jaron Duran in center.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Yoshida over there in left. We don't know what we're going to do with the ball. Would love to sign him again. Then you got Rafaela.
You got Rafaela. You got Ref Snyder.
We got Ref Snyder. Like, I don't understand why we extended Ref Snyder.
He's a lefty killer. Can play all three outfield positions well on defense. He is what you want your fourth outfielder to be. Okay. Won't hurt you in any of the three positions.
Mm-hmm.
Look, he's not going to light up the world. He kills lefties. We know that. Okay. But he's a good defender as well. So, you need a defensive replacement, or you need to make that happen. He's really not going to hurt you. And, there's value in that, and what they gave him for money is not the end of the world. So, I'm okay with that. Good. He's a bench player. He knows it, and he accepts his role and does it, with authority. So, yeah, I'm okay with that. I think the difference between him and Ramil Tapia was Tapia still believed he was a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Ref Snyder says, "I know I'm a fourth outfielder. I can play a few days, in a row if you need me to. I know my value to the team. It's teeing off on lefties and playing good defense. Okay, and he was a late bloomer to boot.
Yeah.
He's bounced around and he found himself great. Get 2, 3, 4 years out of him. That's foul money. So
let's sit there and switch it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers are coming to town starting tomorrow, and we got some old friends, a lot of memories coming back. The one thing I am getting so sick and tired of hearing, the Mookie Betts trade. Put that thing to rest.
He was never coming back. Okay, once he chose free agency, that's it. Somebody was gonna. He said he was gonna do free agency. Somebody was gonna outbid them anyway. So, sorry about that. I cut you off, but
oh no, we've got Brazier coming back, who's a completely different guy. I'm so hoping that he comes back and it proves our point. Some people just aren't meant for Fenway, and I'm hoping he gets rocked when he comes back to Fenway.
Yeah,
Joe Kelly's coming back.
He's on the IL, right?
Joe?
Yeah, is he on the IL still?
I think so, but with the Dodgers.
Yeah,
JD Martinez will be returning.
I think he is. Yeah, I think he
I
is
think,
doing
but
his IL stint as well.
let me.
Hang on.
Let me sit there and be looking.
I'm looking now.
Because,
He's not. He's not on the
and
bench.
then and then we have Mookie Betts overall.
Yeah.
You know, with the MVP like season he's having over there, is just
Yeah.
ridiculous. So, they've got Lynn going on Friday, Lance Lynn.
Uh-huh.
They've got Urias going on Saturday. And they're not 100%. They don't have anybody for Sunday yet.
Right.
We have nobody for tomorrow so far. Whose turn is it in the rotation? Are we going to go
Crawford.
opener? Crawford?
Yeah,
Paxton, Big Maples on Saturday.
Yeah, we'd have to be. Wouldn't it be Crawford because they?
It should be Crawford. Yes.
Should be Crawford. Yeah. With Big
Paxton's is going for us on Saturday, and Halkamania, baby. Halkamania is going Sunday. So, and we're going to do a little giveaway on Sunday.
Oh, good.
If Halk gets the W, we're going to be giving away one of our new release Halkamania t-shirts. So,
Great.
Halkamania's running wild, brother. So, a little throwback to the 80s and 90s wrestling.
Yeah.
So, but hey, we finally released our Tristan Casas shirt too.
I saw that.
Casas Esu Casas. So, guys, head on over to our website. They come in a variety of colors. We're having a sale right now on our drinking glasses also. So, guys, head on over there, check them out, and you're watching the best. You might as well drink like the rest, and get your Pesky Podcast merchandise to drink from.
Drink.
So
drink with class with every glass.
Yeah, there we go, George. So let's go down memory road. You know, not all the guys are going to be playing this weekend, but there's going to. If they were, there'd be a lot of tribute videos, going off. Let's start talking about, let's go Brazier. Let's go Brazier first. Any fond memories of Ryan Brazier?
I mean, he was a big part of 2018. He came in unknown, did what they asked him to do. Even in 21, came in and did his thing. When he was on, he had good stuff. It's just that, the last 2 years, 22 and 23, there were times he couldn't find to play with GPS. So, he found himself again in LA. Maybe they found something in his mechanics or, a pitch mix or had him change a grip or something. Who knows, right? He, for all the complaining and people used to get on his back all the time, he took it like a champ. Never got into open arguments with the press or with fans or whatever. It was just like, I got a job to do. I'm going to do it. So you got to respect that level of professionalism, and when he left, I said, I wish the guy well, and he's doing well. Okay, great. Come to Fenway. I don't wish you that well. Okay. But yeah, thanks for what you did for us. He's a big part of the last few years. He just didn't have it the last couple.
Yeah, me personally, 2018, we used the hell out of him in that bullpen.
We did.
And we may have used him so much that he wasn't able to ever bounce back 100% from it. He was one of the key parts in 2018. So, but if what he was doing on days of rest, he was doing fine for us. It's just when he had to pitch 1, 2, 3 games in a row,
right?
That kills you. That kills your arm. So I gotta follow you on that 100%. But let's go to another reliever, Joe Kelly. Now, me personally, the first thing that comes to my mind is Joe Kelly Fight Club.
Fight Club.
He
will always be remembered for that.
It was because of that fight, I went out and got me a Joe Kelly autographed jersey.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah. It's you can't see it, it's just off camera, but I loved it. He was the not no nonsense type of guy. Like, you had a problem, let's throw it down. Like, even when he went and hit the batter, he was just waiting for him to come out. Like, 100%. So besides that, with Fight Club, do you have any great memories?
None in particular. Just that he was one of those guys that you need on a pitching staff that just like, I'm afraid of nothing. Okay, I'm going to set the tone. If there was a situation one of your guys got thrown at, you knew who was going to finish the job. Okay, the unwritten rules in baseball.
Yep.
You knew that if Joe Kelly was coming in, he's probably the guy that was going to get it. Okay. Just consummate gamer. It didn't take crap from anybody. So that's my kind of pitcher. Just go out there, do your job, and be tough.
So next up, J.D. Martinez.
I mean, he did so many great things, in his tenure here. He did, and wish DC was on with us, because we could do the fan on JD violence talk. But, I think he stayed in the DL or IL too long sometimes, wasn't necessarily as tough as I would like. But boy, when he was on, there was nobody who could just be, he could drive in runs, hit for power.
And he taught, and he would teach during batting practice.
He did. He was another hitting coach in the dugout, and had a lot of the players' ears, had a lot of respect. The one thing that I'm glad for is that MLB changed the rules with respect to interleague play, and now the universal DH. You don't have to see him play the outfield because those days are long gone. He embarrassed himself a few times out there. It's too bad 2022 happened here because he was a total non-factor out of the gate, and it kind of puts a shadow over what he did prior to that. He really did, because let's face it, if you knew you were playing the Red Sox, you knew you had to deal with him. And go, oh God, now I have to face JD, and he could put one of the seats at any time, or go the other way. That was one of his biggest strengths. He could take the ball to the opposite field and drive it to the alleys. So that was one of his huge accomplishments as a hitter. He had control of the bat, and he could put it basically wherever he wanted.
But now, Ortiz retired what, 2016?
16, yeah.
2017 was horrible. Oh. We had nobody fill in Ortiz's spot, and then we got JD.
Yep.
And him and Mookie both were. They could have been right there, neck and neck for MVP award.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. His
the
downside.
The thing you remember about Martinez is that, he was one step out the door and then he found himself, you know, and there's a lot to be said for players who can reach deep inside and kind of see what they're doing wrong and kind of come back. But he, for that matter, he made himself a great hitter because he had all the promise, and then what was it? Houston sent him packing, and he went to Detroit, and I think VMart kind of took him aside and said, "Yeah, this we can do this." And then a couple of other people took him aside. The next thing you know, he's he blossoms. And then he went to the Diamondbacks for that half season. Yep. Yeah, and just tore the hell out of the ball. But yeah. I mean, look, there was good outfield defense just wasn't there.
There was so many times when I would go and buy left field tickets to see Benintendi right there down in Camden Yards. And every time, it's almost like AC is like, is the Ritt out in the field?
Yeah.
JD's going out there to play. I never once got to see Benintendi play.
No kidding.
I think it was 3 times I was down there in Camden. First row, left field. All 3 times, JD Martinez right there. And I'm like, really? No, don't get me wrong. He was a big dude. But he had no athletics prowess at all out there in the outfield.
No, he was slow to the ball. Not a great arm. You never knew what was going to happen when you get to the ball. And if you didn't take the right path to the ball was behind him. It was just like, yeah, please hit it at him, please. And on a bounce, it hits his chest, and you can pick it up and throw it into the infield. Yeah, not a great defensive player by any standard at all.
Let's go to the last one, Mookie Betts. My first memory that I love to sit there and bring up against the Astros playoffs, when he robbed that home run out there in right field, and to look at the people in the crowd when he robbed them. That was so awesome.
The fact that he basically, I don't think anybody expected him to be as good as he was. He came up as a second baseman. Mm-hmm. It was really an experiment. They put him in the outfield. And that squad, with the killer bees in the outfield, Benintendi, Bradley, and him, he was the right fielder, and he could very easily have been your day-to-day center fielder. Yes,
there, baby.
Three amigos. Yep, there you go.
Win, dance, repeat.
Yeah, and so, he's blessed with speed, power. Hit for average, hit for defensive. He was really a 5-tool player.
I was just getting ready to say a true 5-tool player, George. It's just like, man.
It was a pleasure to watch him play. It really was. And, he did it with a smile on his face all the time. He loved playing the game. Fans loved him. He was just, fan favorite up there. One thing about playing in Boston is if you do well, the fan, you'll get love from the fans. If you don't do well and you own it, you're still going to get love from the fans. And if you don't do well and complain, you're going to get the David Price treatment. But he just an unbelievable talent.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, in today's game, you're not going to, the chances of those guys sticking around for their career is just gone. Between the money and just the way baseball is structured today, the days of guys who, sticking it out with one club with all that talent is gone. The Jim Rices, the Kyle Yastrzemskis, the Jeters, Cal Ripken, another one.
Yeah.
Al Kaline going way back.
Yeah.
He comes right out of high school and starts playing with the Detroit Tigers. Guys who have talent and play with one team forever. Those days are gone.
Yeah. And I hope the fans tomorrow at Fenway really give Mookie a welcome home thank you.
Oh, I think they will.
Because he was one of the biggest parts in 2018.
Yeah.
To get us that World Series ring. Anything after that's between the front office, Mookie Betts, and his agent. That's it. Mookie to me was just a class act when he was here. Leadoff guy who we haven't had a true leadoff guy for quite some time.
Right.
Always had a smile on his face, and I loved that. That's why I loved earlier this year with Verdugo leading off, because like Mookie, I'm not sitting there and comparing them, 100%, but they both had that pop that they could go yard in that leadoff spot, but they also had the speed too.
Right.
So I love Verdugo, early season Verdugo, where he was doing that. Mookie Betts always played the game, smile on his face, and he wasn't afraid to get dirty.
Nope.
And I love how he had fun out there with JBJ and Benintendi, out there with Win, Dance, Repeat. And George, I was so close. I took a long shot yesterday.
Oh, boy.
Sending out a message to JBJ on Instagram.
Oh, really?
I got an answer back almost immediately. He appreciated the offer, but he's good at this time.
Okay.
So I was like, man, I said, if we could get JBJ on here, some stories we could sit there and be told.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he could map out that Bermuda Triangle out there in the center field that no one's been able to travel that, navigate that as well as JBJ did.
The thing about him in center field was he could not only get to the ball, climb the fence, and reach it, and just get there in a hurry, but he had the arm to go with it, and that is something you just don't see with center fielders. Most of the good ones can scale the wall, go out, get speed, and drive, and make all these fantastic catches. He was a total package, man. I mean, he could throw you out from dead center field. And you used to see it. He tried it. He did it from center field. He hit home plate, and he just do it practicing. I saw him when he was in Portland. I decided to take a road trip over to Manchester to see the Toronto club play against the Sea Dogs, and in batting practice. Okay, I don't know. I forget who was taking batting practice. He actually took a home run away from one of his teammates in batting practice. He scaled the wall and pulled it back. It's like that's how much he go out there and he practiced it. And he threw it back in, and he kind of you could see him kind of like smile and kind of like they look at the batter, and the guy looked back at him and say, okay, yeah, you got me.
Yep. With JBJ, it was 3-4 years ago. I want to say it was 2021. 2021 maybe?
It was
2019. It was 2019.
Yeah, because 21 he was in Milwaukee.
It was 3-game series.
Yeah.
In Baltimore. And then I told my buddy, I said, what game you want to go to? Of course, this is one of the games where I want to see Benintendi, and I'm looking at JD Martinez. He goes, let's go to game 1. I'm like, are you sure? He goes, yeah. So I let him pick, and we lost. Game 2 was the same game that I remember. Highlights the next morning. JBJ up over into the bullpen, robbed them of that home run.
Yeah.
And the Red Sox won. I looked at my buddy. I was like, Justin, why didn't you pick game 2? It was just, and I remember, I think it was Trey Mancini was the one that hit the ball. And I just remember the highlight of him tipping the cap.
Oh, yeah.
Because JBJ did things. Could you imagine what his net worth would have been if he had a bat to go along with that defense?
I think he always felt he could swing for power. And, if he just become a contact hitter with his speed, if he hit 270, 280 with his speed and his defense, I mean, he didn't do himself any justice by trying to swing for the fences. I mean, he had the ability to have the power, but I think he had that early success, and he always wanted to try to repeat it because home runs were paying off. I didn't come to see him hit a home run. I came to see him perform miracles in the outfield and get on base and run.
If he just got on base with his speed, he can steal easy. Yeah. So, George, let's sit there and let's close this little conversation out. Tell us about your Portland Sea Dogs experience you just went to with yesterday.
It was an interesting game. They ended up losing in the top of the ninth. They had gotten down early. They're down 6-1. Then they came back 6-5. It was one of those games you kind of knew it was going to be one of those games back and forth. CJ Lou was the starting pitcher. He couldn't find anything. He stayed too much on the plate, and they were just wrapping the baseball. I mean, he did just the hard stump. I was behind, as you saw. I sent you the picture. Yeah. I was in the right-handed. I was right behind the right-handed batter's box on home plate, 3 rows back. Okay, and he just kept the ball over the plate, and they were just beating him mercilessly. Shannon, the kid Sharp, comes in, did a pretty good job to kind of calm things down a little bit. Made a great play at first base on a ball hit to Jordan, and then they fought their way back. They tied it going into the ninth, and they lost. It was a good. They didn't quit. They were. What's the word I'm looking for? They were relentless in trying to come back, okay? And that's good, all right? I mean, that's what you want from your team. What they didn't have last night was consistent pitching, okay? I think that's the thing that killed them. York played. He looks like he's going to swing back again. Maya's still on the DL. So Bonacci, the kid that they brought up from Greenville, the shortstop, he looks pretty smooth out there. I don't know what they're going to do with him. He's got looked pretty well. Hickey, just goes up there swinging the ball hard, catcher. A couple good defensive plays. McDonough and Wright made a nice play. Jordan last night made a phenomenal play at first base. Went to his right, got down on his knees, and he threw the ball over to first base with Sharp covering. Now, Sharp was trying to reach out for the ball and ended up sliding into first base like he was stealing a base, and he ended up getting the runner out. It was a nice bang play. Right now I'd say their pitching is a little suspect. They can hit. Just having one of those games where it was going to be whoever touched the ball last was going to win. Unfortunately, they didn't go ahead in the eighth. They only tied it, and then Richmond came back. Richmond's starting pitching wasn't great either. They hammered him too. So, neither team had great pitching last night. But what are you gonna do? But it was
I
good.
sit there and I can't wait to hear you do a live analogy. You gotta go to a game when Dobbins is pitching. Like
I miss
Dobbins
him.
you missed him, I think, by a day.
Yeah.
Dobbins is just amazing out there. He went 7 innings the other day and just dominated the team.
Oh, he did, and he's looking good. He's looking very. He's starting to pick it up and starting to just find himself in. That consistency will. If it continues, should mean he starts the year in Worcester next year. Okay, and that's all you're really hoping for at this point. You get a month left of the season, roughly. Play well, show that you belong. At the very least, he'll start, in Portland, and within a month he'll be in Worcester next year. But yeah, he's been a bright spot and done it well. I wish, you're right. I've missed him twice, so I'll take a look at the schedule and see if I can't guess right next time.
So, but no, I talked to Riley. She always works Wednesdays, and she said
really?
For some reason she was off yesterday.
Okay.
So she sat there and said she would love to meet you and hang out. But she had off work, so I can't wait to the next year's winter meeting. The writers and thing in Worcester.
Yeah.
I can't wait to sit there and just go up there, get you to go with, like, get together, hang out, and just sit there and do what we do and just enjoy and talk baseball with the players.
Yeah, that I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun. Speaking of winter meetings, did you see the news on Shohei?
Oh yes.
Oh,
where he's shut down his pitching the rest of the season.
He got a tear in his elbow.
So he just lost 300 of his 600 million.
But I think we all kind of, if you were realistic about it, you kind of figured out at some point he'd have to do one or the other. And I think he's going to have to give up pitching at some point. I really do. And that shouldn't make a difference in terms of his hitting. And he played outfield in Japan, so put him in left field. Maybe you can teach him first base. I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, he just talk about timing being awful. I mean, Adam Reyna goes out and tries to salvage the season by getting Giolito and company, right? And then, Shohei gets hurt now, and Trout's on the IL still. So, that just blew up in his face. But yeah, that'll be an interesting dynamic. And if he does need surgery, do it now, so that he can have something next season. But that begs the question: what becomes? He's a free agent. What becomes of that? Does he take a friendly deal with the Angels? For
a 1-year deal,
a 1-year flyer at $40 million, right? And to show baseball is back. Because if he has Swami John now, he could probably be back the beginning of August next year. But the longer they wait, the longer that pushes that out. The good news is he can start the season, as the DH. So, Bryce Harper proved that, and, so, that was bad news for him. If you had $600 million on the over, for his contract, you lost. And big time.
That I went was it 5 years?
Yeah.
500 million?
Yeah.
So So I'm doing pretty good.
I did 5 at 360. You know, because I think that it's going to be tough at $100 million a year. I think everybody kind of is looking for it, but I'm figuring 60 to $70 million a year. Yeah, that works. But yeah, I mean, I had 5 at 360. So, but yeah, he didn't do himself any favors. I think he comes back with the Angels in a 1-year deal.
I think any team, I think any team would sit there and sign him on a 1-year deal.
Steve Cohen.
And heck, and you sit there and think about it, Tampa Bay just freed up a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
They might even go in on Shohei now.
The dark horse candidate for me is still the Mariners. And we talked about this a while ago. I think that when he sees what Ichiro was out there, he was pretty much left alone to be a star. LA can't be, there's too many distractions there. I don't think New York's not the place for it, particularly with this organization. The Yankees or the Mets. It's not a great year to be a New York baseball fan by any stretch of the imagination. But I think, there's some interesting possibilities. Does some team that thinks they're close enough, and wants to sell tickets, want to do that? Throw $75 million at them, right? So who knows? Yeah, that was. I didn't hate it to hear that, and then also today the news that Strasburg was finally retiring because he was, his arm is done. So
yeah, I was surprised on both of them. Like Strasburg, I was waiting for because he's been out for quite some time. Yeah, it was kind of like Pedroia. You knew you're probably never going to see him again.
But you're hoping for it because he was a talent. Yeah, it was the same thing with Pedroia. Come on, just get back, have a decent season, go out on your own terms. But I think he looked at it, and his arm's been sewn back together again. In 20 different ways. It's too bad too because when it went on, he was a force.
Yep. So guys, thanks for stopping by. Make sure you download our podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Head on over to YouTube. Find out. Hey, don't forget. Head on over to thepeskypodcast.square.site. Check out our new merchandise. We got Hulkamania, which I'm giving away a free shirt. I'm going to put it out there on Twitter. A free Hulkamania shirt if Tanner Houck gets the W on Sunday. We've got the Tristan Casas, me Casas, as Sue Casas shirt. That one comes in multiple colors. Don't forget to sit there and check out our Pesky Podcast. For the ladies, become a Pesky Party Girl. And then, George, tell them about the glasses.
Yeah, I recently purchased a couple of beer glasses and the shot glasses. The quality is outstanding. They're durable. And I'm going to be probably getting a few more. As I said the other day, they're going to be on my Christmas giveaway list. So yeah, absolutely. They're good quality. They look great too. They're sitting on my bar. I sent you the picture of sitting on my bar. Yep. Everybody's come down and seen this. Oh, those are cool.
Hey, right now on our website, we're having a sale on multiple things. So guys, check it out over there. Order yourself a shirt. Order yourself some glasses. You never know when you're going to need a hard drink for a hard baseball game. But go ahead, George.
I said you never need an excuse to have the appropriate adult beverage when necessary.
Exactly. So Next episode, we will be bringing back Fair or Foul.
Excellent.
So you're going to want to get that. And as the season goes on, the questions get harder. So for the Ritt, for my man George Sutherland, check you out next time on the Pesky Podcast.